20,000 doses of the Covishield Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine arrived in the Federation on Monday, 1st March, courtesy the Government of India, a significant contribution to the COVID-19 vaccination program of St. Kitts and Nevis. The vaccine was manufactured by Serum Institute of India, Pune, the world's largest vaccine manufacturer. The vaccines arrived at the Robert L. Bratch International Airport on board an aircraft of the Regional Security Service. Meeting the consignment was St. Kitts and Nevis' Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris and His Excellency Dr. K.J. Srinivasa, the High Commissioner of India to the Caribbean community.
During this pandemic, Government of India has already assisted the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis last year with medicines for emergency situations of over $100,000 US. We have sanctioned US $300,000 so far to upgrade the health infrastructure in St. Kitts and Nevis, and they are currently processing another proposal for over US $700,000 for the similar purpose. I would like to also emphasize that the Government of India shares a very special bonding with the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Our shared values of democracy and law strengthen our bilateral partnership. I would like to also emphasize that of the many vaccines being under trial in India, there is a nasal vaccine which would actually ease the mode of delivery, and we hope that the world has a choice of at least 10 to 12 vaccines by the end of this year. But in the meanwhile, I want to reassure you that the Indian government stands committed to its relationship with St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are willing to work together for the betterment of both the populations. And I must thank Honorable Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Timothy Harris and his team for having collaborated with us in getting these vaccines to St. Kitts and Nevis. His team comprising of the Honorable Foreign Minister, the Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Affairs, they have been in regular touch, and I think today marks the beginning of a second round of the relationship, if I may say.
The generous donation of these 20,000 doses of vaccines provides real hope for our people that working together we can defeat COVID-19. We are now so much closer to getting back to our way of life without fear. Through His Excellency Srinivasa, the High Commissioner of the Government and People of India, accredited to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I would like to thank the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, for the compassion he's showing other nations during this period of the global COVID-19 pandemic. His generous heart and enduring sense of caring and solidarity are important values which our government share. COVID-19 has taught us many lessons, but perhaps the most important lesson is how interconnected and interdependent we are as a global community.
The Government of India will provide 570,000 doses of the vaccine to the CARICOM region, out of which 125,000 doses of the Covishield vaccine is allocated to OECS member countries. Glenn Barth, Skn Newsline. The St. Kitts and Nevis Director of Public Prosecution, Valston Graham, is rejecting notions that his intervention in bribery suits brought by Labour candidate Dr. Terence Drew against PAM candidate Mr. Eugene Hamilton is politically motivated or otherwise tainted. According to DPP Graham, his intervention is according to the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, and to ensure that proper procedure is followed in what is a criminal matter involving bribery allegations against an elected official. A post appearing on Facebook page of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party claims that the actions of the DPP to take over the case brings into question issues of ethics and bias, since the DPP himself confirmed that he's a friend of Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards, the leader of the People's Action Movement, PAM, the same political party of defendant and Minister of Government Eugene Hamilton. At a press briefing on the 25th February, DPP Graham did confirm he is a friend of Sean Richards, but said he also has friends who are affiliated with the Labour Party. The Director of Public Prosecution explains his actions.
I am not no political pundit. In fact, I don't like politics, period. Do I have friends, political friends? On both sides of the aisles, I do. Like we all do. I do not make decisions based on political wishes or political polls. When sections of the media and other persons called on me to charge the former Prime Minister and former leader of the opposition, Dr. Dennis Douglas, with a passport issue, I did not budge. I did not think it was in the public interest to do so. I discontinued 2 weeks ago a case against Leon Nathan Nelson because I thought it was the right thing to do. Now I don't hear, I am not seeing the clam of Facebook pundits and people who are going around and saying I am Labour, because I'm not Labour. Neither am I PAM, nor Unity. I am simply a public servant doing the best that he can do. Simple as that. Now, the future of the matter rests in the hands of Dr. Joe and his attorney. I have asked them to provide me with the evidence that they have. Once they provide me that evidence, I will assess it. And I will make a determination as to whether or not that particular prosecution go forward, or whether or not the evidence revealed there's a greater need for me to ask the Commissioner of Police to make a more widespread investigation into any allegations of bribery that might have occurred in the 2020 elections. And I have no difficulty in doing that, because I have no horse in those rings. So what the purpose of me calling here today is to simply to dispel any suggestion whatsoever that my taking over the matter has anything to do with being a political ally of PAM, Sean Richards, or Eugene Hamilton. PAM is a political party of which I'm not a member. Is Sean Richards my friend? Yes. Eugene Hamilton is not my friend. I don't know the guy from Adam, except from him being a member of the National Assembly. How does it look in an independent federation where there's a director of public prosecution that an allegation of bribery against an elected official is being played out in the criminal courts, and the director of public prosecution just sit idly by and say, let me see how this play out? It can't be. My intervention is simply to ensure that the matter has proper superintendence and proper disposition. Nothing more.
Notwithstanding media comments of the DPP, the Labour Party Facebook post suggests their uncertainty that the DPP can be unbiased in the case. Glenn Barrett, Skn Newsline. Premier Mark Brantley is urging the people of Nevis to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus. Premier Brantley was addressing members of the news media during his monthly press conference in February and had previously, the day before, taken the first jab of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. He said members of the Nevis Allied Administration Cabinet took the vaccine to demonstrate their confidence in its safety. As such, the Premier wants Nevisians to take the vaccine for their own protection and for the good of the country.
The experts are telling us that this is the way out of this COVID-19 pandemic. I am very pleased that St. Kitts and Nevis has done remarkably well so far. The vaccine now provides us with that additional layer of protection. It is not to suggest that we abandon the non-pharmaceutical measures that have kept us safe thus far. They will continue, of course, to roll out the public relations exercise. They will continue to roll out the campaign. They will continue to ensure that the people of Nevis are made aware and that they understand and recognize that getting vaccinated is really the way to go. We do not see that there is any reason for anybody to not wish to be vaccinated. The only questions here should be safety and security of our island, and that is what we're seeking to achieve. And so we want an all-hands-on-deck approach, all shoulders to the wheel, as we go out and roll out the vaccination campaign.
The Premier said that another 20,000 doses of the vaccine will arrive in the country shortly. Glenn Bart, Skn Newsline. Minister of Culture John L. Powell affirmed government support for the Intangible Cultural Heritage Secretariat, describing its work as significant in preserving the culture of Kittitians and Navajians. Speaking at the opening of a February 24th seminar held to showcase work done so far at the end of a UNESCO-funded ICH capacity building project, Minister Powell said it was important that we live and promote our culture.
Culture and our cultural heritage is something that we cannot turn off and on. Rather, it should transcend generations. Hence, the significance of the ICH project. To this end, I pledge the federal government's support to the continuity and longevity of the secretariat that has been established within the Department of Culture. Throughout the Federation, we have seen the mingling and intertwining of various cultures and traditions, not only with our Caribbean neighbors, like Guyana, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica, but from international cultures like the Chinese and the Indians. These non-nationals are practicing their culture, adhering to their principles and traditions in all aspects of their living. In this paradigm, it becomes critically important for us to not only be aware of our own culture and heritage, but for us to continue to live it, practice it, preserve it, and indeed pass it down from generation to generation.
Supported by the 2003 UNESCO Convention on Intangible Cultural Heritage, St. Kitts and Nevis received over $99,000, the first funding in the English-speaking Caribbean, to implement a 2-year capacity building ICH project. Research and documentation specialist Marlene Phillips, the focal point for the UNESCO-funded ICH project in the Department of Culture, spoke on the experience and importance of ICH preservation.
At Culture, we recognized that we have been safeguarding for years, not just with the inception of Department of Culture, but we as a people, as a Caribbean people, we have been keeping our traditions alive, oral history, through performance, through dance, through the art forms, through the food that we eat. All these things are intangible cultural heritage, the traditions and the cultures that we keep alive. And when I say we, it's people in the community who keep it alive. It's not St. Kitts Department of Culture or Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. We assist, we provide support to people in the community to keep it going. And that's basically what ICH is. It's the intangible part. We always see built heritage, we see the heritage sites, but we don't really think about the intangible part of our culture. We take it for granted, but it's the food that we eat every day. It's the food that our parents prepared for us, that are cultural from the island that we grew up in. So we're very pleased with this project to build capacity to continue safeguarding.
Documentation of the country's intangible cultural heritage is being undertaken by the Department of Culture on St. Kitts and by the Cultural Development Foundation on Nevis. Glenn Bart, Skn Newsline.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Stay abreast with news on St. Martin with SMN News. Visit www.smn-news.com for up-to-date news, scoops, opinions, and hard-hitting facts. SMN News, we tell it like it is. Visit our website www.smn-news.com.
For the finest in pastries and baked products, your only choice has to be Bryden's Bakery, located on Main Street, New Road, St. Peters. They offer the best in breads, cakes, cheesecakes, cupcakes, cookies, and much more. Visit their cafe and savor breakfast sandwiches, coffee, espresso, and ice cream. Bryden's Bakery also specializes in a variety of healthy breads, cakes, cookies, pies, and pastries for all your special events. Call 667-1505. Opening hours 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays for Ice Cream Sundays. Bryden's Bakery, simply the best.
Banners, commercial signs, decal printing, canvas print, license plates, posters. We at Multigraphics are dedicated to providing quality products and service to our customers. Our team takes pride in the craftsmanship and is passionate about its work. Every job, large or small, is important. Most of our customers come to us through referrals. That's because our number one priority is service. We serve a wide variety of customers, such as restaurants, retail stores, manufacturers, trucking companies, and many more. Our capabilities include design, production, and installation. How can we help? We are located at Bird Rock at the Woods Right compound. Call us at 869-763-1511 or 784-491-7599. Multigraphics.
The country is at a critical stage in the pandemic. That's according to Prime Minister Andrew Holness. As a result of the increase in COVID-19 cases and hospital admissions, the government has announced stricter restrictions to curtail the spread of the virus.
The curfew hour will remain at 8 p.m. nightly to 5 a.m. the following morning until March 23rd, 2021 at 5 a.m.
As it relates to education, only students who will sit exit examinations or who have special needs are to have face-to-face instruction until March 22, 2021. This applies to all primary and secondary schools, whether public institutions or independent schools.
Public gathering limit will remain at 10 persons until March 22nd, 2021. Effective the 8th of March to the 22nd of March, funerals and burials will be prohibited. Continue to allow weddings, except that the cap that we had placed on weddings, which was 50, we have now halved that.
Public beaches and rivers will be closed until March 22, 2021. In addition,
everyone coming into Jamaica must present a negative COVID-19 test, which was conducted within 72 hours prior to the date of travel. And they must present this at check-in.
Robianne Williams for CVM Live.
Self-described pro-democracy protesters took to the streets of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, with one demand: for the president to step down immediately. The demonstrators, numbering in the thousands on Sunday, say Jovenel Moïse's 5-year term ended on February 7th, but that the president has refused to leave office and is instead consolidating power.
Today we are showing the world that the Haitian people reject the power of the PHTK, headed by Jovenel Moïse, who wants to establish a dictatorship in the country. The Haitian people fought against the Duvalier regime in 1986. We will not go back to this era.
Moïse has ruled by presidential decree for the past 13 months, after dissolving the majority of parliament amid political gridlock. He claims his term doesn't end until February 2022, and he'll step down only then. He took power in 2017, in an election marred by allegations of fraud. The protests Sunday were organized by religious groups, but others joined in, including the political opposition. The frustration on the streets goes beyond the president. Demonstrators are also mad at what's known as the core group, the United Nations, European Union, United States, Canada, and France, that for many years have held great influence over Haitian affairs. They say the group is propping up Moïse at the expense of the Haitian people.
For a long time, the economic elite has been hijacking the country with the complicity of Jovenel Moïse and the core group, who have joined forces to impoverish the country.
In January, the U.S. announced an infusion of $75 million in development aid for the country, and just last week called for legislative and presidential elections this year, but so far shied away from calling for Moïse to step down. What remains is anger on the streets, a defiant president, and a country now in a constitutional crisis. Gabriel Zondo, Al Jazeera.
A court in France has found former President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of corruption and influence peddling. The judges handed Sarkozy a 3-year prison sentence, 2 of which are suspended. The 66-year-old is the second leader in France's modern history to be convicted of corruption. Natasha Butler is live for us at the court in Paris. Natasha, run us through what exactly he's been found guilty of, and does this mean that we're going to see a former president now heading to prison?
Yes, Nicolas Sarkozy becoming the first former French president to be handed a jail sentence. He was found guilty by the court here in Paris of corruption and influence peddling, and he's been handed a 3-year jail sentence. So we understand 2 years suspended. The 3rd year he may be able to carry out under house arrest. Now, lawyers for Nicolas Sarkozy say that he does intend to appeal. Now, this case focused on an incident in 2014 in which Sarkozy was charged with trying to influence a magistrate, trying to offer this magistrate a top job in return for information into another investigation which was being carried out at the time by police on Nicolas Sarkozy over campaign funds. Now, Nicolas Sarkozy during the trial always protested his innocence. He said that he'd been the victim of a political smear campaign, but it seems that the judge here in Paris disagreed, handing out this jail sentence, a devastating blow indeed to Nicolas Sarkozy.
So what then might this mean, Natasha, for Sarkozy's political ambitions?
Well, Sarkozy served as president of France, a conservative president from 2007 to 2012. But since he left office, since he left the Élysée, he has really been, you might say, trying to stage a political comeback. In 2017, he even ran once again for the presidency. And over the years, he's certainly tried to position himself as a hope for the Conservative Party, perhaps for another presidential election campaign. But you'd have to say that this guilty verdict certainly will deal a blow to those ambitions. It would be hard to imagine that a former president with now a jail sentence to contend with could possibly take the centre stage once again politically. So very disappointing for Sarkozy, his reputation in tatters, you might say. But as I said, the former French leader making it very clear that he will appeal.
OK, thank you for that. Natasha Butler, live for us at the court in Paris.
The former president told his most fervent followers the Trump era is alive, well, and ongoing.
We began it together 4 years ago, and it is far from being over. We've just started.
The news that the 45th president would remain on the national stage, the stage he stood on was crafted in his honor in the shape of the number 45, was well received by this conservative crowd. That includes the head of the Proud Boys, who calls establishment Republicans rhinos, Republicans in name only.
Can I get a Trump 2024? Trump 2024! Trump 2024! Trump 2024! The energy's out here. There's nobody that's going to stop it. We're going to vote the rhinos out. party doesn't listen to the people, the party's going to have a hard time.
I want to see him running the party now. I don't want to wait till 24.
But whether the party's 2024 presidential standard bearer will be named Trump, or which Trump, Donald, Don Jr., or Ivanka, he didn't say.
Who would you like to see lead the party in 2024?
He's already the leader. Isn't it obvious? Donald J. Trump.
And what about the other Trumps, Ivanka, Don Jr.?
I hope they run for 28.
In his first public address since he left the White House, rejected by voters, Trump eased the minds of many Republicans with a call to unify the party across the bitter divide he helped create.
The Republican Party is united. The only division is between a handful of Washington, D.C. establishment political hacks and everybody else all over the country. I think we have tremendous unity.
That call for unity behind Trump is a challenge to those Republicans who want to unite the party behind someone else in a post-Trump era.
But the former president isn't releasing his vice-like grip on a clear majority of Republican voters.
Every party, but now especially the Republican Party, has to look inside after January 6th and say, what have we become? What's our great history? And how do we go forward from here? And I'll tell you, reaching out to Donald Trump and more of the same is not going to do that.
As expected, in his kitchen sinker of a speech, Trump attacked his rivals, promised to defeat them, and repeated baseless claims that he won the past election.
Actually, as you know, they just lost the White House, but...
He also left the door wide open for another run in 2024.
Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay? Beat them for a third time.
It was a welcome message for everyone in attendance, but for other conservative voters and politicians, it's a worrisome reminder of the widening rift in a bitterly divided Republican Party. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Orlando, Florida.
Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game. Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where service is number one.